Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're having a bit more of a chill video where we're just going to talk about some things that are happening in the PSVR2 space. Some games are well on their way, some games are looking very good, and unfortunately some games have been delayed. So first of all, let's start off with the good news. Cyube is the good news. It doesn't look like we'll be having to wait until April for the game to come out, as the trailer for the PSVR2 version has been submitted to Sony as confirmed by the developer. Cyube is looking like a really promising Minecraft clone-like game. It has its own differences and similarities to Minecraft, but overall the gameplay loop is incredibly similar, and it's looking very, very promising to fill that gap in the market on PSVR2, and I personally believe it'll do quite well. What this means for release is that when this is confirmed and Sony have basically said yes and approved the trailer, I believe reviewers like myself are going to get keys for the game a week before it then goes live, so we can get our coverage out and our thoughts, and then it's going to go on sale on the store and everybody can buy it. I do hope it goes well for the developer because they put a lot of work into this game, and from what they said, it seems like it's going to be a really good one. I also just want to touch upon a game that I haven't yet covered because it's still under embargo, but has had some pretty good news in terms of an update for it that I can reveal to you guys. And that is Paint the Town Red VR, a game coming out on the 14th, and the embargo will lift around that time. However, the PSVR2 build has had a frame rate increase and the game looks very, very sharp now from what the devs have said over on their Reddit AMA. However, it has also offered some insight into the PSVR2 process for a studio that is porting a game from multiple platforms. As a lot of us had suspected, it takes a hell of a lot of work to do multiple platforms, and that means that sometimes PSVR2 does not get the attention that maybe it deserves. From user information OK40, they posed the question, did you use some of the bells and whistles of PSVR2 like haptics, adaptive triggers, or dynamic foveated rendering? How much will the game cost? This is probably the best question on the entire thread, which is why I'm highlighting it here, because the answer offers all this insight. Southeast Games, the developer behind Paint the Town Red VR, answered, we use some and plan to use more. One of the difficulties in developing and self-publishing a game for release on multiple platforms at once is that you can't spend too much time on platform specifics, especially when you need to get through certification early enough. So at launch, we do use adaptive triggers for firing range weapons. We don't currently use the headset haptics, even though it would be a great fit, but we intend on adding this either before launch or shortly afterwards as something you can opt into in the settings. Foveated rendering, whether it's eye-tracked or not, is something we're actively still playing with. We just patched the game with a significant resolution boost so it renders at a very high res. I've disabled eye-tracked foveated rendering in that patch as it was giving more noticeable negatives than just rendering with minimal standard foveated rendering at a very high resolution. I will be continuing to work on PSVR2 specific updates for a while, and it may end up back on if it's the best fit after other setting changes. As for cost, it will be $20, but if you already own flat Paint the Town Red on PS5, it should be $10 if everything works correctly. The reverse discount should also work if you buy VR and then decide you want to buy flat screen as well. Now, there's a couple of things here that I want to highlight in terms of the porting process that's actually news to me and quite a few other people. However, one of them isn't, and that is that devs are stretched quite thin between multiple platforms. And this is sometimes why we see games release on Quest or PCVR before they come to PSVR2, because the devs just do not have the time to port everything over and get it all up and running to a high standard on the PS5 and PSVR2. The same can be said here. It's clear that these guys are playing around with the PSVR2 features like the head haptics and the adaptive triggers, and it's nice to see some of that here. And it's also nice to see that they'll continue playing with it past the launch and updating it past its actual launch date on the 14th. I can't comment on how sharp the game looks, but from what they're saying here, it seems to be quite a high resolution, which is good even though it doesn't have dynamic foveated rendering enabled. But if they could get that working, it will probably look incredibly sharp, even more so than it does now. I mean, look at Ancient Dungeon, which has quite a similar voxel-based art style. Looks incredible, and that's partly thanks to dynamic foveated rendering. It's also an interesting point to bring up about Sony's storefront, because as we all know, it really isn't the best. It's due for a refresh, to be honest, in how it works and functions, and the same can be said about some of the upgrade path trees that are available on there, because some of them just don't work. And it's not great wording here in terms of confidence in the storefront when a developer themselves is saying that hopefully the upgrade path will work, so it only costs $10. But sometimes these things just don't work out on the PlayStation Store. But hopefully that upgrade path will be there. And it's a little disheartening to read that because I can't imagine how stressful it is as a developer not knowing whether you're going to maybe cut your sales by a quarter or half because the upgrade tree for some people doesn't work. Anyway, that's all for Paint the Town Red VR, and we're on to our final little bit of news, which is quite unfortunate actually. The developers known as Nox Noctis behind OVRDark, Do Not Open Story, and Do Not Open from PSVR1, unfortunately have had to delay the game. During their in-house review of the gold version of OVRDark, they identified a few aspects that require refinement to ensure the best gaming experience for PSVR2. They understand this is a little bit inconvenient and frustrating for players and reviewers, etc. However, the slight delay is necessary for the team. They're proud of the game and they're confident that it'll be worthwhile, and they're just going to solve it and then update us with a new release date, along with unveiling exciting new content and updates. So overall, it seems like a positive for them, getting the game in a bit of a better shape than it currently is. And the delay is, in my opinion, always a good thing in terms of quality. This is one that I'm fairly excited for. We've got a couple horror games coming out fairly soon. I'm hoping to get my hands on Madison as well. I believe a couple of creators have gotten their hands on it early. Some YouTubers like Gamertag were alluding to that a couple of days ago. I am not one of those, but I should be getting my hands on the game before its actual release, so I will be getting some coverage done on it a little further down the line. So I'm excited for that one, but overall this month is looking pretty good. If we can get Cyube out and Do Not Open, hopefully it isn't delayed too far. And a couple of other games like Little Cities Bigger do look like genuinely a lot of fun. So are you excited for any of the 3 games we've mentioned today in depth? Are you sad about the delay for a Do Not Open story? Are you excited for Painting the Town Red after these improvements have been made? And are you excited for Cyube to finally come out? Because I know that I am. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Thank you to Ace Gamer and Luke Bentley, our 2 patrons. If you want to join the Patreon or the YouTube membership system, both are in the description below. The only tier is at $3 a month, and it's just a way of supporting the channel, keeping me basically fed and allowing me to continue with uploads as frequently as I do. Anyway, thank you all for watching once again. I hope to see you all in the next video.